Hello and welcome back to Everybody Hates Barney. And we're currently going to go into a fight here against the Vassal. I've actually been doing a little bit of extra recruiting in my off-screen time. And basically I've also installed No Relation. And I love this mod. As I said to you before in the previous episode, I think this mod is absolutely fantastic. I think there should be a setting in the base game that literally incorporates this, just because it is just so incredibly annoying not to have an ability to disable that annoying noise. I don't know. It just improves things so dramatically. It's actually kind of insane. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to do the standard thing. We're just going to get our archers to do some wonderful, wonderful things, and hopefully they'll actually murder things really, really quickly. I'm not really using too many tactics in this particular battle, mostly because I'm, yeah, there's no excuse here. There's literally no excuse. I just didn't do it. So, I guess we're just gonna go raw, you know, we're just gonna go raw, and I guess that's the point. If we can do that, and we can actually, you know, achieve victory, then I guess this guy just didn't have what it took. And funnily enough, I'm coming from behind, but it feels like we can't really penetrate them that well. I'm not entirely sure, actually. Oh, look at this guy. Oh no, he's not having any of it. He's not having any of it at all. However, our infantry are having a great time. Ooh, that was some... Oh, yeah, that was actually some deep penetration there. Look at that. Massive neck hit from that opponent there with his thrown weapon. That was actually really, really well done from him. And, well, it wasn't that satisfying for me, I've got to say. That was not particularly nice for us, but it was in the neck. Maybe if it was in a different location, we wouldn't mind too much, but yeah, that was pretty harsh. Anyway, let me see if I can do something here. I am almost at 250, by the way. And that is, of course, in throwing skill. Because I absolutely love that. You know, as I've said before, that is one of my favorite perks, and you are going to get to see absolutely amazing things. Very much hoping that we will actually get to see amazing things. We literally... What? We took no casualties? Okay, yeah, this guy had no idea what was going on. We also got to 125 in leadership, which I have to say is very, very cool. Let's get some Imperial Manavlions here, Manavliatons, whatever they're called. I don't care what they're called, you know. And otherwise, we are just going to take some more Imperial trained archers. And there we go. We're just going to leave the rest. Unfortunately, there are no towns that I can really go in at the moment. So I kind of have to just kind of float around a little bit from place to place to place and just kind of... well, do our best, pretty much. Just try to do our best as much as we possibly can. Let me just actually see here real quick. There we go. Okay, that's absolutely fine. And yeah, there we go. We got 125. So bear in mind that I am actually going to need 150. So I need another 25 points in leadership. And then we can actually start basically power leveling our curve. And, well, what does that mean? Well, basically what that means is we are going to start gaining so much additional power that we are going to start outscaling enemies so much more dramatically than we have been, that it's going to be exceptional. It's going to be very, very good. Now, Presence is actually a really, really good perk if you are planning on waiting in a town after it has been besieged, or generally if a town is having a problem with its security. This coupled with Parade is absolutely insane, because imagine this: you're staying in a town, castle, I don't know whether that really makes a difference, but whatever, either one of these things, and you're giving them +5 loyalty and +5 security every single day, basically, which is actually kind of crazy good. But obviously I don't have a huge amount in charms, so we're not really going to be doing anything with that. So I will be taking leader of the masses, even though the first portion of this particular perk doesn't actually do anything at the moment. but we are going to be getting that plus 5% additional experience from battles shared with our troops, which is obviously great. Now what we're going to do, and this is something that I'm obviously very much looking forward to here. Actually, you know what? Before we do that, I am just going to save. You usually don't see me save because I don't normally like doing that on screen. I like doing that in between episodes, or if an auto-resolve? No. If an autosave comes in, then that is obviously going to be the thing. But the reason why I'm doing that is because I have installed this new mod, and I have used it before, but let's just see what happens. Okay, yeah, as you can see, boom, wonderful, done. This guy, who's he a part of? He's a part of Britannia. I actually did capture him as well, and he is going to be executed too. And Sylvand is also going to be executed, and there we have it. There we go. It's absolutely fantastic. And now we have gained the devious trait. Oh yes. And there is a minor faction vassal right there. Obviously this is not actually going to do anything for us whatsoever, but I am going to go in here because I want to murder him. Oh yes. There we go. I'm not going to actually be executing him or anything like that. That was just me saying, you know, eliminating him. Oh, he actually died. He actually died in that battle. Okay, well that makes no sense whatsoever because, well, it doesn't actually help us in the least, basically, so that's quite funny, nevertheless. But yeah, now that I've installed No Relation, and now that I know it's working, we are gonna start going on a tear. Oh yes, we are gonna go so hard against these opponents, they are not gonna know what hit them. It's gonna be very satisfying, and that is all we need to know, right? That is all we need to know. Okay, so we're at a horse village. I think I'm actually going to be getting some war mounts. I think I will get some war mounts. And do we have a herding problem right now? No, we do not. That's obviously fantastic. Let's just sell these things just for the moment. And then we're just going to get rid of some armor. So bear in mind, obviously, because we have a huge amount of war mounts, I am able to, you know, kind of trade, as it were. And that's kind of what I'm going to be doing going forward. So if I do see a village or something like that that has a resource of some kind that I think is going to be somewhat useful to us, then I'm obviously going to trade it. But most of the time that is always going to be horses most of the time. Yeah, you know, it's not actually going to be anything else, which is really, really sad. But, you know, what can you do? Anyway, let's just get some more of these guys to join us. I'm actually going to go in here. We're going to force them to give us recruits. They actually just gave up instantaneously, so they just immediately gave us some people. And Penton is one of the strongest vassals, but he has basically no army whatsoever to speak of. So we are going to be going in here. We are going to go in really, really hard, and he's not even going to know. He won't even know. As you can quite clearly tell, he has accepted his fate, I suppose. He has accepted his fate, because he doesn't know this right now, but we are going to be executing him at the end of this. Oh yes, we will be executing him. So let's actually see what he decides to do. I kind of want him to come over here, because what we're obviously going to do is we're going to put our guys into a shield wall formation. We're going to be, you know, taking this a bit more seriously. I haven't really been taking a lot of the, you know, tactics that I've been employing that seriously in general, because we didn't really need to that much, actually. You know, most of the time, if we were going to lose, we're just going to lose. You know what I mean? Like, we need to get out of there, you know? We need to escape from the battle itself, rather than actually participate in the battle. So, you know, that's the main... that's kind of the main thing to take away from that, because if I'm actually going to fight, I do want to have a chance that I'm actually going to live, because obviously the times that we've actually run away in this series so far have literally been up against armies of, you know, 600, and you know, people that are just way out of our power level at the moment. And they're just way too difficult for us to deal with. So, you know, that's a situation, you know, no level of strategy or, you know, tactical prowess is actually going to do anything in that sense. Because if you have 50 troops and they're all, you know, relatively low level with the exception of a handful of high tier troops, it's not going to do much, you know, even if you do use strategy to the best of your ability. And you utilize strategies by some of the greatest tacticians in history. Even then, it's not going to be enough if you just don't have the numbers, because the numbers are generally what mostly denote how you're going to win and how you're going to lose. Yeah, that's generally what Bannerlord has been about for quite some time. Yes, indeed, you can. I'm not precluding the fact that you can win. You can win in outnumbered situations. There have been many times in multiple different series that I've had where I have entered into a battle knowing that I am outnumbered, but being able to achieve victory despite that, because we actually ended up using strategy, tactics, and so on and so forth to be able to win. Or it was in fact just the composition of the opponent, and they tend to have very low tier troops. Sometimes that does tend to happen too. Like, for example, this guy right here, I believe that the only reason why we're winning this, we're winning this very handily, and I think the main reason why that is because he does have some very low tier people, but I was using a very solid strategy. You know, there isn't anything, you know, bad about the strategy. It's just very simple, you know. I'm not really trying super hard to, you know, pull off the heist of the century, as it were, you know. I'm not actually trying to do that right now because there is no point, you know. I saw exactly what he had, his composition, and, well, that is literally what signed his death warrant. It was nothing to do with my own skill or my own tactics or strategy or anything like that. It's nothing to do with that. And that's actually a reality. That is actually a reality check right there. Something that we should probably all remember, by the way, is that most of the time, and this may be, I don't know whether this is going to be shocking to you or not, but most of the time it has nothing to do with anything that you yourself are doing. And I'm not even talking about you specifically, I'm talking about me, I'm not talking about me, I'm not talking about anyone. I'm just saying that in general, the player, it sometimes doesn't matter what the player does, it's sometimes exactly what the AI does that actually has a significant impact in many situations. I'm going to be taking tier 4 people here, tier 4, tier 3, and I believe that's pretty much it. I don't really want to take a huge amount of troops because I am going to be having some problems soon enough. Okay, so decrease morale shock by 20%. I don't really care about that too much. Increase melee damage against mounted troops. I don't really care about that either. We're starting to get some slightly better banners, which I guess is kind of good. But yeah, anyway. We can just move on. And we are going to be executing him, of course. Yes, we are going to be executing him. And he is indeed one of the most powerful vassals in the Northern Empire. And look at that, I have gained the Deceitful trait. I'm not entirely sure why I would gain the Deceitful trait, to be honest, because all things considered, I didn't deceive anyone. I literally went into a battle with this guy and took him prisoner in a straight up one-on-one battle with our armies. Relatively even in number, all things considered. And we managed to capture him in honorable combat, basically. We didn't really do anything that was deceitful. So I'm not entirely sure why the trait is called that. I absolutely understand if we were doing something untoward. I mean, I guess execution. I guess that's the reason. I guess executing him is the reason why that is considered deceitful or something like that. Even though deceit, I don't know. Anyway, doesn't really matter. We are indeed victorious, and we are standing over their corpses and paving the way of blood, the path. The path is paved with the blood of our enemies, and so on and so forth. Paved? I don't even know how it would be paved with blood, but, you know, maybe we'll turn it into blood bricks or something like that, you know? I mean, that's always an idea. Anyway, we have so many prisoners right now that I actually do have to get rid of a couple of people here. So let's get rid of this, the Hillman. There we go. I do still want to try to have as many as many bandit units as possible, because, you know, leveling up my roguery skill is actually still very viable and still something that I would like to do, because it is actually a skill that is very overpowered and super, super useful as long as you continue to level it up. Even, I mean, that's the point. It's highly unlikely I'm going to get to 275 in it because of some weird thing that Tailworld seems to have done with the leveling speed of it. I'm actually not entirely sure why it's so slow, but, you know. Anyway, I don't think I'll actually get there, but it would be cool, you know? It would be absolutely fantastic. We'd be swimming in money, but, of course, I don't actually have enough... Well, I don't have enough money to... well, I don't have enough fiefs, actually, to do anything with that. And as you can see, we do have a vassal here who wants to absolutely... Actually, it's the leader. It's the ruler of the Northern Empire. But that's okay, you know? That's absolutely fine. And we're actually going to be continuing to prey upon these fellows here. This guy is actually going to be moving... Wait, he's moving super slowly. Oh, no. Never mind. He's not moving as slowly as I initially thought. Okay, we can go over here. This guy's moving slower than us. Oh, actually, no. He's moving about the same. Okay, so what is actually slowing us right now? Let's have a look. So I'm going to assume that it is actually my prisoners that are causing me the main problem here. And if I was... Actually, Sturgeons don't get a movement speed bonus in snow, do they? Yeah, that's a thing, isn't it? Okay, you know what? I'm going to start getting rid of a couple of our prisoners here. We're just going to get rid of some of the lower level ones. Even though they're actually really, really useful, and I personally really like doing that, I'm actually going to execute this guy as well. I actually forgot to do that. And there we have it. And now we can actually start chasing this guy and maybe even get him into a battle before he gets into the town. Yes, got him. Absolutely fantastic. Let's go in here because I would like to get to 250 in thrown weapons. Let's cross our fingers and hope that we can actually do that. It would be amazing if we could pull it off, because that is finally going to get us the ability to penetrate enemies and their shields. Because, let's face it, that is all that we want to do. You know, that is absolutely perfect. Alright, so let's actually make our way up here. You know what? Should I just be super aggressive? You know what? Yeah, let's do it. I'm just going to be super aggressive with this one. And we're just going to try to kill this guy as soon as possible. Yeah, he's going to be annoying, isn't he? Yeah, he's actually just going to run away from us. And that is not something that I am willing to entertain at the moment. So I am actually just going to do this shall we say, the old-fashioned way, where we're literally just going to let him run away. You know, if he wants to run away, then that's exactly what he can do. Let's see what he's going to do here. He's going to die. There we go. That was absolutely hilarious. Wow, that was a very special moment indeed for him, wasn't it? He was like, oh yes, I'm going to lead the enemy leader away. You know, the enemy commander has taken the bait and is following me. And, oh no, he's not following me anymore. I better go back there. And obviously he's talking about us here. And then we literally just turn around and fire some massive javelin at him, and he's just like, yeah, you know, mouth open and everything. I mean, really, he might as well have just been, you know, picking up something for all we know. You know what I mean? That's kind of what maybe should have happened there, but it doesn't matter because we're done. Look at that. So super easy, actually. So super easy. Very, very surprised, actually, that these guys are so simple. But I think the reason why we are winning so much is because we have taken the time to gain that power. And I actually said to you earlier in this episode, I said to you, hey, you know, we're actually going to be, you know, in this episode, well, in future episodes, once we get our leadership skill up. Also, by the way, I am actually going to be donating every single bit of loot here. I'm going to take actually, I don't even need the food. So I'm not even going to take the food. And we're just going to donate all of the loot for experience, because I do have a lot of lower tier troops and it would be kind of useful. As you can see, they actually leveled up quite a bit. So I'm pretty happy with that. Because I do actually have those 2 steward skill perks now that actually allow me to donate weapons and armor. But yeah, as I said earlier in the episode, I said, oh yes, once we get our leadership skill to, 150, we can start getting our power level dramatically increased. Well, it doesn't actually seem like I even need that right now for some reason. I don't know why that's happening, but we are absolutely slaughtering everyone that we lay our hands on at the moment, which is... it's kind of boggling my mind right now. I'm kind of thinking to myself, what's happening with this? How am I doing this? Because all intents and purposes, these enemies shouldn't be super easy for us to eliminate. I mean, yeah, sure, fine, okay. This guy's got 54 troops. Of course, he's going to be easier than someone that has 120 or whatever. But we did actually just fight one of the strongest vassals. The guy, the guy that we executed initially, Penton, right? That guy. He, very clearly was someone that would put up a pretty big amount of resistance. But it turned out no. It turned out that he decided not to, I don't know whether he decided not to, really, but, Anyway, we're just going to be continuing to donate. I'm actually going to take the horses. And I don't think there's actually anything else here that I really want to do, so we're just going to donate the, donate the weapons and armor and everything. And let's see what else we have available here. Okay, so let's just get these guys. There we are. And, oh yeah, I should actually execute him as well. There we go. And I'm going to make sure, by the way, I'm always making sure that they are, in fact, part of the actual faction, rather than being a minor faction or anything like that. The Vlandians have declared war on the Sturgians. Okay, this is, playing like this gives me so much freedom. It's actually really, really nice. And it actually feels like a large weight has kind of been, lifted from my shoulders. Because usually you have to be very careful. You kind of have to tiptoe around a lot, and you have to think, oh, who am I going to attack? Who's going to be the best possible option for our initial assault, right? You always kind of have to ask these questions. Because, well, that's the, that's the strategy portion of the game. You kind of have to ask yourself, oh yeah, how am I going to do this? Am I actually going to be able to tackle these enemies? But because we're at war against everyone, it's basically equal opportunities, We are literally just attacking every single person that we can get our hands on, and that's it, Because we actually have the ability to do that now. We literally do, because I am very clearly, or shall we say my army is very clearly capable of doing that. And this is one of the strongest vassals too. Look at this guy right here. Look at this guy. And the funny thing is, the only thing I think that is probably going to be causing us any kind of problem is going to be a large army. But thinking about that, and thinking about the fact that we are indeed a literal fugitive, we are Calradia's most wanted. That's pretty much what is happening here. I'm going to be hyper-aggressive again. Hyper-aggression seems to actually be relatively suiting this portion of our conquest of the opponent's heads, because we are indeed taking all of them. And yes, this is just very amusing, because they literally just don't have anything that they can do. And as I say, the armies are going to be the only thing that I think will actually be somewhat problematic. But funnily enough, I actually think the armies are going to be quite easy to manipulate. Because obviously, as you might expect, armies are not actually going to be that mobile. And because they are not mobile, it's going to be even easier for us to deal damage to them, because they... And this is the funny thing, I don't need to even... if you think outside the box a little bit here, you don't have to deal damage to them in a battle. There are ways to deal damage to them outside of the battle. And I'm not even talking about extracurricular things that mods like Forbury provide you, because Forbury does allow you the ability to assassinate enemy vassals, which I have to say I love. I love that particular functionality. I love that mechanic, and I wish it was a part of the base game.
You know, being able to hire a squad of assassins that is going to go after your mortal nemesis and, you know, assassinate people. That would be so incredibly fun. In the base game, of course. But, you know, that's just not available, you know? It doesn't matter. But what I'm talking about is inflicting attrition damage. So things like distracting the army until they lose all their cohesion, and until they lose all their food, and so on. And that's how you can deal damage to an enemy army without actually fighting them. Because it's super easy to dismantle them that way, you know? I mean, maybe it's not super easy because it is a case of actually investing quite a lot of your own time, and maybe that time could be better spent elsewhere. There are many, many cases where, you know, actually randomly, you know, distracting an opponent has been more damaging to the distractor rather than the distractee. So, you know, there are those cases where it's probably not the best idea to do it. But it's always an option, you know, it's always an option, and it's definitely something that I am probably going to be employing at some point in the future if necessary. So we're just going to level up these guys. We have a lot more war mounts. I actually, you know what, should go to every single horse village. I should go to every single horse village, and I should purchase every war mount that they have available. I think that is probably going to be my next port of call, because at the moment I do do I still have war mounts? No, I don't have any war mounts anymore. So that's the point. If I don't have any war mounts, I'm not going to be able to level people up, you know, because I can't level up our heavy cavalry, and I still think that particular requirement is kind of annoying because you have to, you know, do this whole busy work thing of going out to all these villages, but that's obviously a different discussion for another time. But the fact is, we are actually looking to be extremely strong right now, and well, my plan right now is to dismantle the Northern Empire, because the Northern Empire, as you can quite clearly tell, seems to be a relatively small faction, so we don't really need to worry with as much territory. And I'm going to try and see whether we can capture a town from them. That's going to be our main objective at this point. If we can capture a town from them, and I'm thinking Argeron right now, because it is a relatively decent town, nice defense positioning. However, the problem with Argeron is that it does have one entry point. Unless you can go over here. You might be able to go over there. I don't know. But the entry point I'm talking about is the bridge. And that could be very, very hazardous for our health if we need to run away at any point. But anyway, I'm at 249 out of 250. We're almost there. We're going to get it in the next episode, I assume. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.